Second day of action here at Anglesey for the Toyo Tyres Porsche Championship, and as you can see, the weather has definitely taken a turn for the worst. Adam Southgate still on pole position as the cars go out there following an exciting race from yesterday. It's over to Jake to take you through the rest of the grid.
Cheers, Lloyd. And when it rains at Anglesey, it really rains. We'll have to keep an eye out on it. Adam Southgate from Ed Hayes on the front row of the grid, from Nick Hull and Richard Avery on the second, Kevin Molyneux, Andrew Porter and Philip Churchill in the Boxsters. In the 924s, Pip Hammond and Gavin Johnson on the front row again, Lowry and Rossin on the second, Smith, Printy, Waters, Wood and Pritchard, with Andrew Baker and Matthew Harris on the production box of the grid. Going to be an interesting one, this. Let's see how the drivers get away off the start line. Red lights are on and we're out and racing. Great start from Ryan Lowry. He's going to try and split the two PDC racing cars as we go to turn one. Keep your foot in. Pip Hammond gets his first bit of contact since Alton Park. And Gavin Johnson is going to take the lead round the outside of the 924s. But out in front, it's Southgate from Nick Hull again. Nick Hull makes a magnificent start as Hammond tries to go round the outside of his teammate Gavin Johnson round the banking. I'm not sure if he actually made that stick. Johnson still leads at the moment. He's got a nose in front until Pip Hammond goes round the outside at Church. Is he going to hold on to it? Yes, he does. Great move from Pip Hammond on his teammate Gavin Johnson. And we ride on board with Lowry. He could get an opportunity to go for Gavin Johnson up the straight. What a difference 24 hours makes. Look at the weather conditions. It's incredibly windy and very drizzly up the hill. Ryan Lowry keeps his foot in. Round the outside of Rocket. Hammond's going to overshoot. That's the first mistake Hammond's made all season pretty much, other than Alton Park. So Johnson's going to take the lead until Ryan Lowry gets on the inside line. Ryan Lowry leads. Nice bit of satisfaction there for Ryan Lowry. He leads a race for the first time in the 924 Championship this season. Gavin Johnson second, and this time Pip Hammond is going to have to work for it. He's now rejoined in fourth position behind Carl Rossin. So what a race this is going to be in the 924s. I almost want to sit with this one for the entirety of. But as they come over the hill, look at the fog as they come through. The clouds really gather at ground level here. Into the hairpin as Gavin Johnson closes up on Ryan Lowry. We could have a completely different 924 winner as Avery has a look at Nick Hull in the Boxsters. It's Southgate from Hull, Avery, Hayes and Molyneux, just as it was in race one. But yesterday's bright sunshine has been replaced with muggy, grizzly drizzle. Is that a word? Muggy, grizzly drizzle? It is now. Richard Avery round the outside of Nick Hull. Whoa, he had to miss his braking point. And Hayes is going to try and take it on the inside line. Avery sticks it to the outside. Whoops. That's track limits if ever I've seen it. Up on the curbs, trying to keep out there in front of Ed Hayes. Hayes, both of them having to brake on the inside line for Church, and Hayes gets through. Avery has to surrender third place for the moment. But Avery is still going to give it another go. As they come down the straight, he's going to try and tuck it to the inside. Hayes will not let that happen as they close up on Nick Hull. But Adam Southgate is looking good for the victory up front. Hull second. Southgate out in front. Avery tucked in behind Ed Hayes in the battle for third position as they close up on Nick Hull. Nick Hull in second place. He's had billions of third positions. He wants a second place. Gavin Johnson loses it up towards Peel. Oh my goodness. He was very lucky there not to collect Ryan Lowry as they went through, but Gavin Johnson loses it under braking. It's such a difficult part of the circuit in the wet, and he will now drop to the back of the 924 grid, so that will be a very different podium at the moment. Ryan Lowry leading the race in the 924s. Here's Nick Hull into the hairpin, not too far away from Adam Southgate, but the drivers behind him will want to get past him relatively quickly to avoid Adam Southgate doing another disappearing act. Here comes Ed Hayes, trying to have a look at Nick Hull, but Nick Hull is a very wise driver. He knows how to keep him covered, and he does so. Now Richard Avery's going round the outside of Ed Hayes. Come on then, boys, let's have a shindig as they come off the turn, up towards turn one. This is going to be interesting, and Kevin Molyneux there, sat in fifth position, is going to be able to pick up the pieces if they start squabbling. But Ed Hayes has a look to Nick Hull. Nick Hull through the banking, has no problem at all negotiating it. And look, the rain spot's on the camera. We're starting to get rain. And this could be a problem. At Anglesey, when it rains, it really chucks it down. Here's Pip Hammond through turn one as he tries to make progress through the field in the 924 class. Now that looks to me to be Ryan Lowry in front of us, so he has worked his way to second already. So Pip Hammond now chasing down Ryan Lowry. Oh, careful, Pip. This race is looking like the most lackadaisical race he's had this year since the first race at Alton Park, when he ended up binning it into the wall at the first corner at Alton Park in the battle with Rick Styron. Since then, he has pretty much dominated proceedings, but now he's got a real battle on his hands. So Pip Hammond chasing down Ryan Lowry as they come up towards up towards Rocket into the left-hander. You can see how choppy the sea is behind us. It's incredibly windy up here on the hill. And as they come through, Ryan Lowry still holds the lead in the 924. Second is Pip Hammond. Third is Carl Rossin. And I think, is that Peter Smith in fourth position? Riding on board with Pip Hammond as the circuit gets wetter and wetter. And if it gets really heavy, it's going to be raining cats, pigs, dogs, chickens, sheep, you name it. But here comes Ryan Lowry, still defending from Pip Hammond. They come down the Tom Price straight. Ryan Lowry hanging on for the moment, but Pip Hammond has got him in his grasp. Down to the hairpin. It's getting heavier, the rain. This is going to play into the hands of Pip Hammond because he will be able to make the move. Lowry overshoots. But can Lowry tuck back to the inside and get it back? No, he can't. So Pip Hammond takes the lead. Ryan Lowry signalling to Pip Hammond, I'm just going to follow you for a bit, mate. And meanwhile, third position is having a bit of a squabble in the 924s because Carl Rossin has got pressure from Peter Smith, who's trying to come through into P3. Back on board with the Boxsters. This is Nick Hull. And you can see how heavy the rain is on his newer windscreen. It's tough to tell on the 924s because obviously they're older windscreens and they steam up a bit easier. But here in the Boxsters, you can see how heavy the weather is getting. Oh, there's Ed Hayes charging through and going to the outside. Thank you, mate. I'll take the place back. And now Richard Avery's going to try and get through round the outside. Beautifully done. Richard Avery up into third place. So Ed Hayes drops back into fourth position. That's how tricky it is. Anglesey in the wet is a really tricky circuit to negotiate. We're on board with Gavin Johnson. He's got one of the production Boxsters going past him. And look at his bonnet. It's flapping in the breeze here. It's getting very tricky. Now we're on board with Adam Southgate. That Adam Southgate is behind the drivers up front. What's happened to Southgate? Southgate has dropped back into fourth position. We didn't see what happened, but Adam Southgate has dropped back. Nick Hull is leading this race. Not for long. There goes Ed Hayes through. Hayes has got through into the lead. Hull in second. Avery third. But Adam Southgate is behind these guys now in fourth position. He must have had an off and has had to drop back behind them. Look, there's Southgate in the background in fourth place. So Ed Hayes takes the lead. Hayes leads it. Hull second. Avery third. Southgate fourth. We didn't see what happened, though. That's the crucial problem we've got, is that we didn't see what happened to Adam Southgate. So now we've got a different leader. It is Ed Hayes leading. Nick Hull now second. Avery in third, trying to make his way through. That's how tricky Anglesey is in the wet. Here comes Avery, swarming around behind Nick Hull, trying to come through. Adam Southgate will be kicking himself. That was a second victory of the weekend. Very much in his pocket, and now he's behind them. So Nick Hull chasing after Ed Hayes. He's not putting away quickly enough yet for Nick Hull to be concerned. He's going to try and gain some time on Ed Hayes, who drifts through the final turn. Look at that. The first corner is almost impossible to see through at the moment. Lots of rain on our cameras. I feel so sorry for the marshals. Whoops, Ed Hayes goes wide. Oh, and that's Richard Avery. Big shot, big shot. Richard Avery loses it coming out of turn one and cannons into the barrier. Now, that could easily be a safety car, or it could even be a race stoppage considering where he is on the circuit. Southgate's now up to third, but Richard Avery is out of this race. So problems there. We're hearing that there's a penalty that's going to be handed out, a 10-second penalty for Andrew Pritchard in the 924s for jumping the start. So that's the second race in a row. Look at the standing water on Adam Southgate's car. And the rain is getting really, really heavy now here at Anglesey. I would not be surprised at all if we're about to go to a red flag because of the conditions. I mean, it gets really heavy at Anglesey at the best of times. So we need to be very careful in these slippery conditions. I wouldn't be too surprised, you know, if Noah's Ark started to drift into the shot further back. Here's Nick Hull, still running in second position. Oh no, Nick Hull's lost it now. In through Siemens, there goes Adam Southgate. Nick, that was your best chance of second place yet. And now he's gone and dropped out to third position, so it looks like he will pick up another trophy. This is getting ridiculous now, look at the weather. Kevin Molyneux there in fourth position. And considering these guys are on, I think they're on dry tyres actually as well. So, because obviously the race started in tricky conditions, but it wasn't enough for wet tyres. I think they're going to have to stop the race here. Oh, this is Adam Southgate. Ah, yes, we're under safety car, that's why. So the safety car has come out for Richard Avery's accident. So with the safety car out on the circuit, they're going to bring it under safety car and checkered flag. Now that's a good call because obviously it's raining very hard and they're all on dry tyres. So Ed Hayes is your winner from Adam Southgate in second. Nick Hull is third. Kevin Molyneux fourth from Andrew Porter and Philip Churchill, with Richard Avery okay, but with a battered car. Andrew Baker in front of Matthew Harris in the production category. Andrew Baker once again on the top step of the podium. And in the 924 race, Pip Hammond makes it 13 wins in a row. Ryan Lowry in second from Carl Rossin, Peter Smith. Johnson recovers to 5th place in the end from Printy, Waters, Wood and Andrew Pritchard.
Ed, that was a case of being in the right place at the right time going up the hill.
It was, yeah. We put brand new tyres on about 2 minutes before we came out, and I seemed to be finding more grip than the other guys. So I got a turn out of the fast corner that leads onto the straight, and I got a run on both of those guys and managed to just hang on, and then the safety car turned up. So yeah, it was all right.
Adam, bit difficult out there in these conditions.
Yeah, it turns out the curbs were a little bit slippery, as I found out coming onto the start-finish straight, and yeah, nice little pirouette, and then these three came past me. But yeah, I wanted the safety car to come back in because I wanted me and Ed to have a bit of a race in these conditions, but I think we'll get that in race 3.
Nick, for a moment there, that race could have gone in any way, really, couldn't it?
Yeah, it was quite exciting. It got very, very slippy very, very quickly. Fair play to Ed. He did a stellar move on me up the inside, at the top there. He did it twice. The first time he didn't stick. The second time I didn't think he was going to do it, but he did, and he made it stick. So yeah, fair play. It was good fun, good racing.